Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Sports and Other Things. I'm your co-host Gabe, and with me as always, my co-host Troy. Troy, how's it going this week?
Pretty good.
All right, we could just get right into it. I wanted to start off talking about the current MLB standings and all the divisions and the current division races that we have going on. I know the season's got another about a month and a half to go, but, it's kind of a slow point in a lot of sports, so I kind of want to talk about that. Do you have any particular division you want to talk about, or you just want to kind of go through it?
Let's just start out in the AL East.
Okay.
Looks like the Yankees are going to clinch the division here in a couple weeks. I see them winning, probably going pretty far in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Yankees are stacked. They're always good at getting big name free agents, big name guys in trades. The Yankees have just always been like a traditionally good team. That's why they have the most World Series wins of anybody. But currently, they have a 9.5 game lead on the Tampa Bay Rays. And Tampa Bay's a really good team, but I just can't imagine them catching up from 9.5 games.
Nah, they're not going to catch them. Right now, the Yankees have just under 50 games left. Their win percentage is .655. There's no way they're going to catch them.
Yeah, the Yankees have to have a pretty good collapse, and then the Rays and or Boston would have to just play out of their minds to win.
I say that I don't think the Rays are a good team. I don't think they're going to make it. Red Sox, you can't ever really count them out because 50 games, if they go on a tear, but after that London series, I don't know if they will ever get it back.
It's been weird, that the whole series kind of threw them off. I do think the Rays. I'm off the top of my head, I can't remember what the current standings are in the wild card, but the Rays, I do believe, the season ended right now. I believe that they would be on top in the wild card. So let's see here. So it's actually Cleveland and then them 3 games out, but they got a half game lead on the Athletics. They can probably keep that. So I still imagine Tampa Bay making it. They've been playing pretty well, especially as of late. So I'm not sure why they want to move to Montreal next season for part of the season, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either, but that's a different topic. All right, going to the AL Central. It's a pretty tight race between the Twins and the Indians. Twins have been playing great all year. I think that it can go either two ways. Twins could just kind of flare out and not play that great for the last 50 or so games, and the Indians have a good enough team, have enough talent, and have been here before.
Yep.
They could overtake this and go on to win. The Indians, like you said, is number 1 in the wild card. I think the Indians are going to take the division.
I'm thinking the Twins are going to hold on to it. I remember a couple of years ago, the Twins made a push late in the season. I think the Twins they'll hold on to it, but the thing is, I don't imagine them doing anything in the playoffs. They'll probably play.
They'll probably win a game too.
Yeah, but at a 5-game series, that I don't think that they'll win. They'll win a first series in the division series. So
yeah, and the White Sox, Royals, and Tigers are completely out. It's a 2-man race.
Yep. Yeah. Currently Indians 2 games out. It's definitely possible.
They're 6-4, and the Twins are 7-3 in their last 10 games, respectively. So
yeah, they're both good teams. I think one of them will probably win the division, and whoever doesn't win the division will probably make the wild card.
Yeah.
That's probably how.
It'll be between if Boston turns it around, the Rays, and whoever gets second in the Central. But we're going to go on to the East or the West. Excuse me. Astros have this one. They have it in the bag.
Man.
There's no way that the A's are good enough to catch them, and
it's crazy though. The Athletics are 15 games above 500, and they're still 10 games back in the division. That is, the Astros are just on fire. What are they? They're currently 75-40. That's awesome.
That goes for the best record in the AL.
They're killing it.
Yeah, and the Rangers, Angels, and the Mariners aren't really. I was hoping the Angels after Tyler Skaggs passed away that they would make a push and make the playoffs and make something special, but they always have talent, but I just don't see
it. Yeah,
them.
man, and Seattle started the season so awesome, But also, it kind of isn't. They did start the season before anybody else. They went to Japan, had those couple games in Japan before the regular season actually started, and they started off so hot, and then they just absolutely just became a dumpster fire so quick. I mean, they like I think in the month of May they only won like 3 games.
Yeah.
Like it was horrendous. So
yeah, and the Angels are not looking too good. They've lost their last 6 games. That's not the streak you want to talk about.
Right.
But all right, let's go on to the NL.
Yeah, so we'll start with the NL East. Currently, Atlanta Braves in the lead. This division is actually pretty interesting, and the top 4 teams in the East could potentially win it. I don't think the Mets will end up coming back and winning. But I mean, you have the Nationals who are 6 games out, the Phillies who are 7.5 games out, and then the Mets who are 8.5 games out. And I mean that's a pretty close race.
As of right now, we have the Nationals and the Phillies as the 2 wild card teams.
Yeah, and I mean it'd be like a couple years ago in the NL Central whenever the Cardinals won the division, and then you had the Cubs and the Pirates playing each other in the wild card. They had the 3 best records in baseball, but they're all in the same division, that was terrible.
What was it last year? It was the Brewers and the Cardinals were in the playoffs together. Right? No,
Cardinals missed. Yeah,
Cardinals missed. Cubs were in the playoffs.
Yeah, Cubs and Brewers are in the playoffs. But, I mean...
Cardinals missed by 1 game.
Yeah. In Milwaukee and Chicago had to play that 1 game to decide who would go to the wild card, who got the division. But, I mean, it's crazy. Like, like I said, the Braves have a 6-game lead over the Nationals, which, if you had told me at this point in the season that the Nationals would have a better record than the Philadelphia Phillies, who got Bryce Harper after the Nationals lost Bryce Harper, I would have said you're crazy.
I'm the opposite on that. I knew that Bryce Harper's one of the best players in the game, but he's not the best player like he thinks he is.
Right, I agree.
Gabe and I've had this conversation before. I said I'd take somebody that batted 285 and hit 30 home runs, and the guy that hits 40 plus home runs and bats 270. Bryce Harper's had 3 or 4 good years, but other than that, the dude's batting around 260.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that the flash and stuff that happens with him, it's the power hitting. It's like when he drills a home run. It's like when he goes to home run derby. But it's not about his average. Like his average is probably below average for the type of money he's making and the type of player that he is considered to be. And so in my opinion, like I don't know why he signed a 13-year deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. Nothing against Philly. But I just 13 years when you're a great player, but like the fact that team you left that was supposed to not be very good is above you is a little hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious.
I think it gets to the point where you see this more in the NBA, less in the MLB because there's just so many players in the MLB.
Yeah.
The NBA, you'll see a superstar that goes and signs somewhere, and that team's just not that great because that superstar just sucks so much out of that team. Bryce Harper last year and the year before sucked a lot out of the Nationals. Now he's gone from the Nationals, and they're thriving, and the Phillies are still playing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean they're playing good. I mean they're only 7.5 games out. They could realistically push it. I mean there's 50 games left. If Atlanta and Washington start to slide a little bit, and the Phillies just keep playing consistent, but the thing is, like,
I will say this: they're 5-5 in the last 2 games, and their record's 59-54, where the Mets 59-56, and they've won 9 out of their last 10.
Yeah, the Mets been playing really good as of late. You know what I think made a big difference is the Phillies weren't in the division lead, but they were pretty close with Atlanta to start the season. I didn't realize how big of a difference Andrew McCutchen was going to make on the roster.
Yeah.
Like the loss of him makes a big difference, and the Phillies just haven't been the same since they lost him. I think
it's because they don't have a leadoff hitter.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Braves are going to end up winning the division.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but
I think the Braves will be stronger these next 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, the Braves they got a lot of really good players,
Yeah,
and the thing is, I don't think people talk about the Braves enough because people are talking about the Astros, which there's a reason obviously, but
if you look at the Braves kind of done what the Cardinals are really known for. They've signed some guys, and drafted some guys, and worked them up in the farm system.
Right, and they don't have they don't get the huge big name guys.
They got Josh Donaldson, who a couple years ago was MVP, like 2012.
Right.
But something like that. But he's not the player that he used to be. He's still a quality player, still a really good player, but not not where he used to be. They got Nick Markakis, who is a guy that's going to hit 280 for you every year.
Yeah.
You got a couple guys like that, but for the most part, you got Acuna, who he got
awesome.
brought up.
He's awesome.
Signed an 8-year deal. You got Ozzy Albies.
Yeah.
He signed a 7-year deal. Like, you got those two guys locked in for the next 7-8 years.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's great because they had those guys, like, they drafted them, they brought them up, and, they didn't get a guy like a quote-unquote Bryce Harper, but yet they're just, they play well together, and they don't have, like, one really dominant guy and then a bunch of decent average guys. They have a bunch of guys who are good and play well together. So
now we can't talk about the Braves and not talk about Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman has been their dude for the last 6-7 years.
And he's consistent. It's pretty.
He doesn't get talked about enough.
He doesn't. I completely agree. Like I said, I think the Braves are going to win. I think the Nationals or Phillies have a chance to push for the wild card. I'm not off the top of my head. Not sure what the wild card standings are in the National League. Let's see here. So Washington and Philly, they're both the top two in the wild card.
Yeah, but then you also have who we're going to talk about next in the Central. You have the Cardinals and Milwaukee 1 game back.
Both 1 game back.
And you got the Mets 1 game back. Diamondbacks 2.5 games. I mean, all those teams can make it.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, and we go ahead and move right along in AL Central. We have the Cubs currently leading division. So they got 3.5 game lead on the Brewers and Cardinals, and then surprisingly, the Cincinnati Reds are only 7 games out.
Yeah.
Are they gonna end up winning the division? No, I can't see them finishing the season above 500. They're 4 games below 500 right now. But the fact they're only 7 games out just shows you.
I mean, they're fighting.
They're fighting, even though they're not above 500. Like what are the Brewers and the Cardinals are 3 games above 500, and they're 3. It's just the division has been beating up on each other so much that none of them have a great record.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, the thing is if you look at it as that, like, it's kind of like college football. The Big 12, they beat each other.
Everyone plays everyone. Yeah,
it looks good. The Cubs, the Cardinals, the Brewers. All 3 of those teams can make a deep push for the playoffs.
Well, and the biggest problem is the Cardinals, they had a lead for a week or so, and then they were kind of tied in between 1 game with the Cubs. But, they've lost 5 in a row. They lost again to the Dodgers.
2-8.
Yeah, 2-8 in their last 10. They lost to the Dodgers again today. And, they're just in a slump. There's 50 games left, roughly, give or take a few. It's plenty of time to turn it around, plenty of time to, fix it and keep playing better and get better. Like, they got talented guys. They just got Ozuna back off the disabled list. Or do they still call it the disabled list, or did they change the name of it, right? Injured list or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So they got Ozuna back. I think they're getting Carpenter back soon if he's not already back. Paul Goldschmidt and Paul DeJong has been playing awesome this season. And if they can continue it, that'd be good.
If Goldschmidt could just hit a bomb every game, that'd be pretty great.
He was on fire there for about a week.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the NL West. The Dodgers are going to win this.
It's not even close.
I bet they clinch it in the next 20 games.
20 games. Yeah, they got an 18.5 game lead, and there's 50 games. 18.5 game lead. You don't usually see that anyway.
The sad part is they have an 18.5 point lead on a team that's 500, 4 games out of the wild card.
Right, exactly. That's crazy. Like, Arizona's not a bad team. They're currently right at 500. The thing is, they probably won't be as good now that they traded Zach Greinke to the Astros, but still, they're a decent team, and they're 18.5 games out. The Dodgers have, last season, the Dodgers started the season kind of rough, and then about halfway point, right before the All-Star break, they just took off, and then they just destroyed their division, and then won their division. They've been awesome all season. Yeah. And they've just been a consistent juggernaut. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They won 5 in a row.
I'm just not a believer in the Dodgers. I don't think they're. I think they're going to win the division, obviously, but I think that they're going to do the same thing that they always do in the playoffs. And
they got to the World Series twice in a row, and it's unfortunate because they played good teams. Like, the Astros, great team.
Obviously, they're in the World Series. They're going to be playing a good team.
I know, but what I'm saying is, the Astros are a great team, and I think the Astros were a better team. And so, obviously that's why they beat the Dodgers. But, that Red Sox series, that went to 7 games.
Yeah.
It's not like the Dodgers lost in 4, 5, or 6. They went 7 games. But, at the same time, I think the Red Sox just had more talent overall, and the Dodgers just kind of.
The crazy thing is the Red Sox still have that same talent. The Dodgers still have that same talent. Minus a few guys, add a few guys.
Yeah.
And Dodgers 77.
Machado.
Yeah, I mean,
But he was. Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
he hasn't done a whole lot with the Padres this year. Yeah, he's playing better than Bryce Harper, but
yeah,
that's not saying much.
yeah. So I mean, I think that pretty much covers the NL West. I don't want to go into predictions as far as what we think is going to happen in the playoffs and
We'll
who's
talk
going
about
to make
that
the
next
World
month.
Series. Yeah, I mean, when the race gets closer, or like we could even do a little bit like right as the playoffs start. The only problem I have is the regular season ends. There's like a 1 day break, and then they start the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean, you
like
gotta keep rolling.
I know, but I mean, like sometimes in other sports, like the NBA, like they get a little bit of time
Yeah, well,
off.
the NBA is, I mean,
NBA is a little different, but I mean, we would.
You play 162 games. You want to get to the playoffs. You want to get going.
Yeah, you want to get done. But the thing is, like some of these races, we're not going to be able to talk about until the division is like decided on the last game of the season. And so, like, I mean, that's going to be crazy because we're gonna if we talk about it a week ahead of time. I mean, you're still going to be talking about I'm assuming Cardinals, Cubs, and Brewers are going to probably still be a close race.
One of them just
starts
going downhill.
Yeah, the Atlanta Nationals.
Hopefully the Cubs.
Yeah, the Twins in. Exactly. Yeah, hopefully. I'll root for the Brewers over them any day.
Oh
honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, so we go to the next topic. Kind of just want to go over some of the big NBA offseason changes. We're not going to go into details of every trade because it can lead to a giant rabbit hole. There are so many trades.
We'll talk for 3 hours and not get anywhere.
Exactly. So I just want to kind of go over the big things that happen in the people that are on the teams, and we could kind of go into each team. But I also want to save a lot of the deep discussions for a regular season preview pod. So we kind of go get started. Like I think the biggest one this offseason has got to be the Clippers. They acquired Kawhi Leonard in free agency, and then also got PG in a trade from the Thunder. Did the Thunder get a lot in return for Paul George? Yeah, but at the same time, the Clippers essentially traded for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So I mean, those are their two biggest acquisitions. They re-signed Patrick Beverley. I honestly, like, the Clippers may be, assuming Paul George comes back 100% or, almost close to his normal self, Clippers might be the best team in the league, honestly, because they were really good last season without having Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So you had those two guys, and I think they fit that team perfect. Doc Rivers coaching them. I think things are going to go really well.
I think they'll be a quality team.
Is that all you have to say?
I mean, you said it all.
All right. So then we kind of move on to like the Thunder. In return for that trade, they got a ton of picks. We're not going to go into specifics on those picks, but they got a ton of first-round picks. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a great player in my opinion. Guy had an awesome rookie season.
For him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be great. We got Danilo Gallinari. Hopefully he's okay. He did just have an emergency appendectomy, and so, but I mean, he should be fine.
Hoping him the best.
Yeah, he's going to be playing for a national team for FIBA, but he should be just fine by the time the season starts. And then some more things happened with the Thunder. Obviously, they traded franchise superstar Russell Westbrook to the Rockets. Being from Oklahoma City, this was kind of like it was upsetting. I wouldn't say it was a gut punch because
we saw it coming.
Yeah, after the Paul George trade, we saw it coming. But I mean, it was definitely upsetting.
Especially to the Heat or the Rockets.
The Rockets. We wanted him to go.
We wanted him to go to the Heat.
I wouldn't have had a problem if he'd gone to the Heat.
Because go out east.
Yeah.
Not right down the road.
Yeah. So, I love Russell Westbrook. I think the Rockets are going to be really good. I think the advantage that Houston now has is they don't have to worry about Russell Westbrook getting injured. He doesn't typically get injured. He missed some games last season, but not very many. Yeah, knock on wood. Unlike Chris Paul, who's perennially injured. But Oklahoma City got Chris Paul in return and a couple more picks. I do think Chris Paul's going to be really good for Oklahoma City. Maybe it can kind of help him. If he plays really well, I think it can help him get traded to another team. When they see how good he's playing and how good he's doing on the team, they'll be like, okay, we want to try to push for a playoff spot. Let's get Chris Paul. So I think eventually, maybe not during the season, but at the end of this season, I think he'll get traded. Like I said, the Rockets got Russell Westbrook in return for that. And then another move that kind of happened in between the Paul George and Russell Westbrook thing, Oklahoma City also traded Jeremy Grant to the Nuggets. That one was kind of unexpected once we knew that they were kind of going to be going through a soft rebuild, not a full teardown, but enough to where they got a first round pick in return for Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's a very good player, and he will be perfect in that Denver Nuggets system, in my opinion. Playing the power forward, maybe him, or I'm not sure who would start between him or Paul Millsap, but I
Definitely
think
him.
Yeah.
Paul Millsap's a great player.
He's a great player.
He's on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Paul Millsap is your, like, probably best or second best player coming off the bench. That's awesome.
That's a good team.
That's great. So I think the next biggest thing that happened, after all that Clippers stuff kind of happened and kind of led to a bunch of other things, I think the next thing that happened was obviously the Anthony Davis trade. We knew about it a little bit before free agency started, but they waited just to make the money work and draft picks work. So the basis of the trade, Lakers got Anthony Davis, and Pelicans in return got Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, a pretty good amount of picks. They ended up getting some stuff from Atlanta as well. They rerouted some stuff to Atlanta and ended up getting a couple other draft picks in return, which ended up being a couple good players. But with the best part, I think, about the Pelicans is not only did they trade AD and get all these draft picks, but they also won the number 1 overall pick. They drafted Zion,
which they're supposed to, like, if you looked at the lottery, they're going to have, like, what, the 4th or 5th pick?
Yeah, they're going to have the 4th pick, and so they ended up throwing that 4th pick to Atlanta, and they got 3 picks in return, got 3 good players in return, and then some other moves that Pelicans made, like they got Derek Favors in a trade with the Jazz.
Quality power forward.
He's a quality player. Like, they also signed JJ Redick.
JJ Redick's perennial best shooter in the league.
I mean, the guy is awesome, and he's consistent. He
might not be Steph Curry good, but he's gonna be.
I mean, he averages, like, he's still averaging like 13 to 15 points.
Yeah, I mean, he's not playing the minutes he used to.
But I mean, that's not that bad. I mean, he'll probably start for the Pelicans, but honestly,
even if he comes off the bench as a veteran.
Yeah, I mean that Pelicans team is like, if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to
be the 9 spot.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're still going to be a very fun team. They got Zion Williamson.
They might be like the Kings this year. They might just be a little too young.
Yeah, but, like, at the same time, you got that veteran presence in there. Man, like, Zion just, I hope that I'm not overhyping him, but in my opinion, I think Zion's just going to be absolutely incredible.
I think that I think that it's not you that's overhyping him. It's everybody overhyping him.
Yeah, and I hope that pressure doesn't.
I mean, if you look at the pressure that he had going into Duke, he had the same pressure. I watched more college highlights this year than I've ever watched in my entire life.
Me too, because
95% of them were Zion.
I know, because, I mean, the guy is just, for how big he is and how athletic he is, it's incredible what he can do.
We've been watching videos of Zion Williamson since he was 15 years old. 14 years old.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy's awesome.
Looks like a grown man.
So, yeah, you have him. You have all those guys that got traded from the Lakers. You have, Jahlil Okafor. He was decent last year, and he can still get better. Even though it was a really high pick, he can still get better.
Coming off the bench is a pretty good player.
Yeah, I mean, that's solid backing up Zion. That's not bad. They got Derek Favors, JJ Redick, and they still have Drew Holiday, who is probably the most underrated player in the league.
Yeah, he definitely is.
The dude is a great two-way player. He's a good offensive player. He's a bully on defense. Like, I love Drew Holiday. And I've listened to a JJ Redick podcast today, and he said that one of the biggest reasons he went to the Pelicans is because he loves Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday is one of his favorite players, and they had an extensive conversation before going there. And
I think Drew Holiday, like, he's very underrated, but he's very humble too. The guy just works hard.
Well, and I was kind of like, man, like after the Anthony Davis thing got announced, I'm like, man, they need to get Drew out of there
because he's signed.
To
play with Anthony Davis.
And then you know what? I'm glad he didn't get traded because now he's going to make that team so much better. The veteran presence, who's just a consistent player. And, knock on wood, but, like, he's been very good health-wise the last couple of years. He had some injury problems when he first got there once, but he's been pretty good the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Been consistent. Moving on to some other big things. Like I said, Derek Favors got traded to the Jazz. Something else the Jazz did earlier in the season, before free agency started, they traded for Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley going to the Jazz is a big deal. I mean, they gave up Grayson Allen, who was a young prospect. I think can be pretty good in the league. But like for Mike Conley, even though Mike Conley's in his 30s, the guy's still awesome.
He's like 31.
He's like 31, and he's still one of the highest paid point guards in the league. Who's never been an All-Star, which still blows my mind.
He's never been an All-Star?
No, dude. He signed that contract a couple years ago, and he's the highest paid player in the league, and he'd never been an All-Star. But that's what the market dictated.
It's the NBA.
It's the only way the Grizzlies could have kept him. So like, then a couple bit pieces went to the Grizzlies, but that is what it is. I think the Jazz are gonna be really good with Mike Conley. Like probably a top 4 seed. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the West, just because like there's so many good teams in the West that if they all beat up on each other, the Jazz might be able to sneak in and take the 1st seed. But if they get the 1st seed, it'll be a close race for number 2. Next big thing, Brooklyn Nets. They signed Kyrie Irving. They got Kevin Durant in that sign and trade with the Warriors. They also got DeAndre Jordan, which DeAndre Jordan's not as good as he used to be, but I think he's going to be pretty good, going with KD and Kyrie.
I think they're going to be a really good team in the East.
I think so,
I don't
too.
think they're going to – if they were in the West, I think they'd be middle of the road.
Yeah, well, in this first year is going to be interesting because, they could play really –
KD's not going to play this
Right,
year.
yeah, exactly. They could play really well, and, they could finish the top 4 seed. I expect them to be bottom 4 seed in the playoff, like 5 through 8. Because Kyrie's good, but he's not, that good.
I see him being 4 or 5.
Yeah, around there, kind of like a Boston, Indiana was last season.
Yeah. Boston's going to be good this year.
Yeah, but when the Nets get KD back, that's a whole different story.
Oh yeah.
So going back in that trade to the Warriors, you had D'Angelo Russell, Shabazz Napier, and Travion Graham.
Was there picks in that? Or?
And then the Warriors sent a 1st-round pick to the Nets, but that D'Angelo Russell thing is very interesting for the Warriors because, they're not going to play Thompson until probably December, maybe January. It just kind of depends on how his rehab's going. And so it'll be kind of interesting with him playing the 2, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then
he got the size of a 2, but he's always played the 1.
Right. And you know what? I think it'll be pretty good because Steph's a really good off-ball player. So,
oh, yeah.
You
catch the ball, and the ball's already out of his hands.
Exactly. D'Angelo Russell brings the ball up the floor. Steph gets open because he's running around like a maniac. It's going to be weird when Klay comes back, though. Is D'Angelo or Klay, is one of them going to play the 3? I think both of them are a little too small to play the 3. Is D'Angelo going to come off the bench? If so, he might be the best 6-man in the league. Best 6-man. It just depends. I think it's going to be interesting. People are talking about the Warriors maybe not making the playoffs. I still think they'll make the playoffs, especially if Steph gets off to MVP Steph level right after the season. Well, because, if Klay's not there, man, who's going to score the ball? Draymond Green ain't scoring.
You think that Steph Curry's going to shoot the ball and like he has been and try to go for 35, 36 points a game?
I think he might. Honestly, man, I think it'll be pretty good. Steph just kind of getting back to his old self. I think he'll keep the team afloat enough to where when Klay comes back, if they're not in the current playoff hunt or they're in the bottom 4, they could maybe just keep that sustained. But I don't expect them to be a super high seed just because the West is stacked. You got the Lakers, Clippers, Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron, Clippers with Paul George Kawhi. I just don't.
We got the Trailblazers. We haven't talked about them.
Yeah.
They haven't made a whole lot of big moves.
Well, we'll talk about them in a minute with the Jimmy Butler stuff. But so anyway, Kyrie, like I said, Kyrie signed with the Nets, which leaves a giant hole with the Celtics. Well, Kemba Walker, who had been with Charlotte Hornets forever since he got drafted.
6, 7 years, not forever.
Well, he got drafted in 2011.
Okay, 7 years, 8 years, whatever.
Anyway, so he signed with the Celtics, which...
He's finally going to be on a winning team.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome. I kind of don't feel bad for Charlotte because, they kind of put themselves in that situation. They didn't put good players around him. But Kemba's going to the Celtics. I think the Hornets going to be the worst team in the league.
Jordan might suit up.
He'll probably still be better than half the roster.
He might go out there and drop 20.
Oh, man. Kemba, yeah, so Kemba's going there. And they signed Enes Kanter, too, which I think is a good pick, but, it's not,
Celtics got Kanter?
Yeah, Enes Kanter signed there. Yeah,
huh.
So I think the Celtics will be good.
Kanter will be a good player off the bench.
He'll probably have to start because they traded Aaron Baines to the Suns as well, and they lost Al Horford, which we'll get to in a minute. But with Kemba being with Celtics, and he's not the same type of player as Kyrie. He likes to score and stuff, but he's a good team player, and so that will allow Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and maybe even Gordon Hayward to get more time, and maybe Gordon Hayward can finally be back to his old self. He was starting to get there towards last season, but he still didn't look right. They still didn't fit right with Kyrie. I think Kyrie was just not the best player to be on that roster.
I think Kyrie needed to go to the Celtics just for a couple years. Figure out himself outside of LeBron. Figure out what he didn't like about LeBron, because LeBron was that leader to him that he butted heads with him a lot. He's like, dude, look what I'm doing. Look at you're the king, but like
Yeah.
I'm doing a pretty good job myself.
Like I hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history.
Yeah, and I just I think Kyrie needed to go and be a leader.
Yeah, and another thing with that, like, I'm not saying that he probably wasn't a quote unquote leader, but like I definitely think it helped him, made him realize that maybe he's not fit to be the number one guy in a team and to be a leader of a team. Maybe he's best as a really good 2.
Do you see that Marcus Smart interview? Marcus Smart backed him up.
Backed up Kyrie, saying he was a good leader.
He said he was a good leader.
And he might have
teammate.
And he might have been. I mean, I don't doubt that Kyrie.
He said that anybody that calls him a bad teammate is lying.
I don't think he was a bad teammate, but it's just you can be a good teammate and not lead your team.
Yeah, I don't think he was a good fit with Boston.
I don't think so either, because like,
Brad Stevens has a different type of.
Yeah, but it's weird because Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of the Nets, he coaches just like Brad Stevens. So if Kyrie had a problem with Brad Stevens, like what he's gonna have a problem with Kenny Atkinson.
I mean, I'm not saying Nets are going to be the best team. So
yeah. I mean, I think Nets are going to be good. Celtics are going to be good.
Let's talk about my guy, Jimmy B.
Well, I'll get there in a sec.
Come on, I want to talk about Jimmy
Well, we'll get there because there's some other things that go into that. But with Kemba signing with the Celtics and the Celtics kind of just being this kind of weird team to end the season, Al Horford finally decided, like, all right, I'm not re-signing here. Got a bunch of young good guys, but I'm going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers so I can actually play power forward in my career. Because he's always said he doesn't like playing center. He's not a center.
He's not. He's only 6'10".
Yeah, but you know what? Like, honestly, I cannot imagine the 76ers not playing the season and not either having Joel Embiid or Al Horford playing the 5. They're going to have 48 minutes of good 5. Because what will happen is Joel Embiid will go sit on the bench. Al Horford will switch to the 5. Somebody will come in to power forward. And then Al Horford will go sit down. Joel will come back out and play the 5. And then Al Horford will come back. So, like, it's just going to be constant good center play for the Celtics.
I bet you mean 76ers?
Yes, that's what I meant, not the Celtics.
Yeah, you messed me up. I think the 76ers will be number 1 in the East.
They're going to be awesome. Like, the only team, I think, in the East, because Toronto's obviously going to be down with Kawhi. The Nets aren't going to be good enough without KD. The only team that can, I mean, you got Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to be good as usual. And they added a couple good players, like, but I think that Al Horford, like, I don't think people are talking about that Al Horford acquisition enough.
I think Al Horford's a great player.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's not athletic and flashy. He's just good.
But the crazy thing is, people are like, "Oh, it's going to be kind of clunky with him and Joel." It's like either one of them could be in the post or on the 3-point line.
Yeah,
either
they're opposite players. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have both of them in the paint. You don't have to have both of them on 3-point line. You put one or the other. I think
Al Horford is a poor man's Tim Duncan.
Yeah, dude, he's a great team, and he's a great team player, great passer, still a very solid defender. He was the only reason. I mean, he held that Celtics defense together for what defense that they had.
Him and Marcus Smart.
Yeah, and I think Tatum is an okay defender.
Tatum's a pretty good defender.
Kyrie actually stepped up on defense compared to his normal self, but he was still kind of bad.
I think Jaylen Brown's probably the most underrated player on that Celtics team.
I agree, and. I didn't even talk about the fact that when Kemba, they did a sign trade with the Celtics, they sent poor old Terry Rozier to the Charlotte Hornets, and they gave him all that money.
He's going to ball out.
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. You realize that he's never shot above 40% in the regular season for his career?
Yeah, what did he do in the playoffs a couple years, though?
Yeah, Scary Terry was awesome, but here's the thing. The guy shot like 29% from 3 last season, and they just paid him all that money to be their franchise player. Oh, okay.
The franchise player was sitting here talking about percentages.
I can't talk about Charlotte Hornets. That's terrible. So now we'll get to your boy.
Jimmy B.
We'll get to Jimmy B. So Miami Heat did a sign and trade. Sign and trade with the 76ers. Also, there are a couple other rumored teams in that original deal, but the final result ended up being the Portland Trailblazers, the 76ers, and the Heat. So Josh Richardson, good player, went from the Heat to 76ers. I think that's a great pickup for them. I think he's going to be awesome.
He's a grinder.
Yeah, and then Portland got Hassan Whiteside, which Hassan Whiteside's a good player, and I think he could be really good for Portland. A change of scenery might be what he needed, just to get out of Miami. I know, like, he was kind of a scrap player, and the Heat pulled him off the scrap heap, and then he turned into like a good shot blocker. Not so much a good defender, but a good shot blocker.
He's definitely one of those players that if he would have been playing like from the time he was like 7, 8 years old, he'd probably been pretty good. But
yeah.
He never really played organized basketball until he was in like high school, and then he went and played overseas for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And I think he did some G League stuff. And they pulled him G League team.
It was like the Mad Ants or one of those teams up there.
Well,
wasn't even the Heat's team.
No, it wasn't. Well, and another thing, like I think Whiteside, like the fact that Portland still don't have Yusuf Nurkic, I think a change senior might be all he needs. And it could still end up where he's not that he doesn't do much for him. But I mean, the dude's getting paid. Like,
he doesn't need to be anything.
It's a contract year for him. Honestly, I think he's going to try and ball out as much as he can.
I think what's going to happen is you got Damian Lillard, you got CJ. I mean, both of them are quality 3-point shooters. But the thing about 3-point, if you shoot 50%, that you're considered one of the best shooters in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
So 50% of your shots are going to hit the rim and going to bounce around.
Yeah.
Hassan Whiteside goes get some rebounds. All he has to do is go up with the ball. He's 7-1.
He's still a good shot blocker. Like and they need a good guy in the paint, in the post. So I think that'll be good for them. And then the Heat, they, like I said, they got Jimmy B, but they also got drawing a huge blank on the guy, Myers Leonard. They got Myers Leonard from Portland as well.
He's not too bad.
He's not too
bad. He's
the
best Leonard brother.
Who's the other Leonard?
There's 3 of them, isn't there?
No, I think you're getting confused with the Plumlees and or the Zellers and or
I'm pretty sure there's more than one.
Kawhi. No. Anyway. So I think the Heat are going to be pretty good. I think Jimmy B is going to. Obviously, nobody could ever replace Dwayne Wade. That's a given. But I think.
Wait, D Wade retired? I'm just kidding.
I think that'll be a good superstar that they need, a good face of the franchise. He and D Wade are good friends, so D Wade's kind of talked to him and told him what the Heat's all about, and that's why Jimmy wanted to go there so bad. So
I definitely got the Leonard brother mixed up, or the Leonard mixed up because he definitely doesn't have brothers.
So that's pretty much it. There are some other big NBA free agency moves. There were a couple big extensions. Draymond Green got that huge $4 for $100 million extension. I think that's great for the Warriors. Now they got their core locked up. I think with that core, Draymond Green being the heart and soul of that team, good communicator, great defender. I think he'll be, that team will be good for years to come. The next big extension, CJ McCollum got that. Was it 4 for 99 or 3 for 99 or something like that?
3 for 99.
3 for 99, so it's like 33 a year roughly. Yeah. I think that's great for Portland because if they lost in the first, maybe even the second round, I don't know if they would have kept that team together. But the fact that they gave Damian Lillard, I forgot, Damian Lillard also got a huge extension. He got that full max extension.
Yep.
So Damian Lillard. Can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum both got the extension during the summer. They're keeping that team together.
I mean, I think both of them are the opposite of the league. They don't want to join up with anybody.
Yeah,
they want to bring one back to Portland.
Well, and that's the thing. They're both humble and they're both loyal. They want to stay there. I was listening to an interview with Adrian Wojnarowski. He had CJ McCollum on his pod earlier this week, and he was talking about being loyal and he loves Portland. He can do stuff in the offseason, go to all these other cities in the offseason. But during the season, he loves being in Portland. He loves his running mate, Damian Lillard. They're like best friends in the whole world. So I think it's a perfect situation for both of them. Both of them got the extension. I think it's great. I think that's pretty much all I had to cover in the NBA. Can you think of anything else that was in big news?
Steven Adams still a Oklahoma City Thunder player.
Luckily, yeah. That's
our big player we still have. We still have Roberson.
Yeah, man. I hope.
Let's move on.
I hope he can come back and at least be, somewhat 90% of his old self. Because it's still a really good defender. But
all right, stat of the week is Barry Bonds on August 7th. 2007 hit his 756th home run, beating Hank Aaron's home run record. He ended up hitting a couple more home runs. It was 762, and then retired. That's a pretty big stat in history. I'm not saying that it's my favorite stat in the world, but it's a pretty big stat.
I still don't think Barry Bonds will ever be in the Hall of Fame. There's all the issues with, and the supposed PED use. Who really knows, what went down with that? I mean, the guy.
Royds.
Yeah, Royds. Sorry, not yeah. I mean, the guy made a huge body transformation, and I don't think that was just an off-season workout.
I mean, if you look at the stats from 1986 to 2007, he went from he'd always been a good power hitter. I'm not going to take that from him, but he went from hitting 25 to 40 home runs a year and stealing more bases than he hit home runs.
1 year he had a 73 home
Yeah,
runs.
he got to the point around Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and King Griffey Jr. when they hit all those home runs in '98, and you see him spike up from 40 to 47 to also, 73 right. A couple years later.
And then also, like, his body just overall got super big.
His head got bigger.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think that was just an off-season workout.
He's doing those neck workouts we always see on those videos.
Well, and like, I'm still not going to knock the guy because 756 home runs is absolutely incredible.
Regardless of steroids, PEDs, or anything else, you still have to hit a baseball, and that's one of the hardest things in sports, if not the hardest thing in sports. I mean,
we talk about averages and getting on base percentage, stuff like that. Like,
he had a 609.
Using a wooden bat to hit this ball that's coming anywhere between 85 and 100 miles an hour, maybe even higher than 100 miles an hour, is insane. Like just they say that it's one of the hardest things in any major sport to do.
Yep.
Hit a baseball off of a wooden bat.
You can take about any athlete, give him a basketball, tell him to go shoot a 3-pointer. I mean, he might make 1 out of 20, but I mean that's you can't put somebody in a batter's box and say hit this 95-mile-an-hour fastball. They're gonna go 0 for 100.
And you see those videos of like NFL players or NBA players, and they go to like whatever baseball teams in their city, and they go in the batter's box with those guys who warm up, and they'll crank out and they'll be hitting quote unquote home runs.
That's batting practice.
It's batting practice, and that's what I'm saying. It's just coaches on the team or some random, like, even another player just lobbing like 40, 50 miles an hour in there, and like you're, as an athlete, your reaction time is good enough to where you can still hit that ball.
I'm not taking anything away from him. It still takes a lot of strength, talent, and everything to hit that. A lot of athleticism, hand-eye coordination.
But it's different when it's coming in 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, 100 mile an hour is not something you can just go step.
Like you played baseball in high school and collegiately, and on the collegiate level, and I played baseball in a minimal level in high school. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
I'll be the first one to admit I was not a good baseball player in high school. And the thing is, like, in high school, they were throwing 65, 70, maybe even 75, like nothing even close to.
Oh yeah, I played summer ball every year, and we would go face guys that threw everywhere between 80 to 95, and then you'd come back to high school ball, and the guys would be they'd run somebody out there throwing 68, and you'd be like, Coach, can I get a heavier bat?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Well, I think Barry Bonds still one of the greatest hitters ever, but his legacy will always be tarnished, and there's a big asterisk next to his name in the record book for sure. So
for the cream that he used. All right, we're going to move on. So every podcast, we like to talk about something random. Last week we talked about food. This week I think we're going to talk about something different. What do we have in mind, Gabe?
I was kind of going over topics. It was kind of like what are some of your major goals in life? And I think major goal, I was like, man, like a dream car. Like getting your dream car it would be an awesome goal. Obviously something that I would love to do, but if it doesn't happen in my life, oh well. But dream cars, like, that could be anywhere. Some people choose classic muscles, some people choose sports cars, some people just choose like a nice fancy truck. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Dream cars are dream cars, whatever you want it to be. We can go and start with you. Like, what's the dream car that you would prefer?
I don't really have just one dream car. Like, it's kind of. I've always loved Mustangs. I've always loved Challengers. I mean,
yep.
You look back at the classic body style of both of those, and they're awesome. But I'd probably say that my dream car is just a nice Shelby Mustang. Probably. I'd say I don't even care what color. I just want it fast.
I'm going a little bit more specific on this. I have two dream cars. Either the whatever newest model is of the Dodge Challenger Demon.
Okay.
That thing, it's still. And I want the one seater because I don't need somebody in my passenger seat freaking out when I'm flying. Okay, those things are the fastest American made car. It's insane. The takeoff time is absurd, and they sound great. It's just that like even if I could just sit in, like even if they had one in the passenger seat, and I could just sit in it for like 5 minutes, like that would be amazing. And then my other one is a 1969 Dodge Charger RT, and my particular one, black with the white racing stripe down the middle. That's overly specific, but like for some reason I've always loved classic Chargers. I don't like how they made Chargers nowadays. I liked them until about there was a time gap, but about 2015 or 2016 when they changed the style again, I was done. I was done with the Chargers, and I was like, I really love the Challengers. So the modern day Challengers is what I love, or classic Charger. That's
I definitely agree with Gabe. I would love to have a Challenger, especially a Challenger Demon. A couple other cars that I would love to have. Definitely a '99 Skyline, Paul Walker's car.
oh
Definitely the
man.
blue. Definitely the blue.
Oh man.
And then Dominic Toretto's was it Charger or Challenger?
His is a Charger.
Oh man,
With the
every time they rebuild that car, I don't care how many times he wrecks it. They rebuild that car every time. I'm like, I want that car.
Oh man, yeah. Well, and I think that's why I fell in love with Chargers, honestly, because when I was a kid, so Fast and Furious came out in 2001. And like so I was 5 years old at that point when it came out in 5, 6.
Yeah.
I loved that car.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's why I fell in love with classic Chargers. I wouldn't, if it was my choice, I wouldn't get one with the air intake coming out of the hood.
Oh, that's the best part.
But however, I wouldn't personally get that. However, those are still awesome. Like if somebody said, okay, you can have a Dodge Charger without that or with that, I'll say without. But if I'm not going to decline it if somebody gives it with the air intake.
If somebody gives me any car, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, and I still think the one that he drove are sweet. I can't deny that. I just personally wouldn't get it with the intake just because it's a little big and it's a little like.
What's wrong with big?
Okay.
Big and manly.
All right. But that car is awesome. And the first one got destroyed by a train, and the second one he was driving through a tunnel on the Mexican-U.S. border. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to run into this wall and just jump out and jump into this other guy's car. And I'm just like, no, you destroyed it again.
No!
And then he come around, and in Fast and Furious 7, he has a third one, and he ramps it off a wall into a helicopter and blows it up. I'm like, why? Can you just keep the Charger, please?
I think he has another one in 8, but you haven't seen 8. His one in 8's a little souped up in a different way, though. It's got some.
It took me a while to watch Fast and Furious 7.
R.I.P. Paul Walker.
Yeah, R.I.P. man. Took me a while to watch 7. I just don't. I probably will watch 8 eventually.
If you haven't already noticed, Fast and Furious is one of our favorite series that both of us.
And why is it one of our favorite series? I have no idea, but like just
neither of us are sports racers. We
just fast cars, them doing crazy stuff, jumping out of.
I love the aspect of the family aspect of random buddies that have made a family.
It's like the thing I was telling you. I saw that thing on social. I don't remember if it was Facebook or Twitter, but it was that thing that the guy who's doing one of the new Fast and Furious, he said, outer space is not out of the question. and the tag said, Dominic Toretto, you don't need air if you got family. It was like, oh man, that's super funny. But honestly, I think that was a good topic because we kind of threw some Fast and Furious in there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm never gonna be upset talking about Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah.
So
we got to talk about Hobbs Shaw.
Okay.
There's been some. I watched a video earlier. I think his name's Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah. Tyrese.
Rome.
He plays Rome.
He's not real happy with The Rock. I guess they've kind of had a feud going on for a little while, but he was upset because The Rock came into Fast and Furious and made it his own, and he's gonna make this Hobbs Shaw movie, and the director that is going to make Fast and Furious 9 had to pause Fast and Furious 9 to make Hobbs and Shaw because that they were going to come out with
Well,
Hobbs Shaw.
well, and here's the thing. Like, I don't know what movies Tyrese Gibson has made as of late, but as far as I know, the only thing he's done is Fast and Furious. So literally, as of right now, that's probably the only thing that's still going his career. So that's probably why he wants Fast and Furious 9. Now, has he been in some other movies? Yeah, he's been in some other good stuff, and he was a music artist back in the day.
He was?
Yeah, because his name, people didn't used to call him Tyrese Gibson. He used to be just called Tyrese. And he was also in Transformers.
Yeah, he was in several of the Transformers movies.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't have a problem. I love Tyrese Gibson. Like Fast Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious is.
He's been in several different movies,
Yeah.
just random parts. He was in Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he?
I guess. It pops up on here. He was in Southpaw. He's been in like a bunch of other movies.
Yeah,
but him playing Rome, like he's one of my favorite characters.
But it's kind of funny. Like I understand what he's saying because, we didn't see Tyrese Gibson have Too Fast, Too Furious, and he comes into Fast and Furious 5. And they're like, oh, we got to introduce The Rock. And The Rock and Jason Statham kind of took over the series. And it's like, they became so popular so quick. And I think Vin Diesel and Tyrese Gibson are probably not overly excited about that. And the fact that they got their own spin-off.
The thing is Jason Statham and The Rock, which are two of the biggest dudes, not just size-wise.
Just popular. Jason Statham is one of the best, action stars in the last probably... I'd say probably
20 years.
Well, it started with the Italian Job came out in 2003, and he was in that.
Yeah.
So I would say
Transporter.
Yeah, Transporter in 2004, I think is maybe 2000 earlier than that. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, and he was in the Expendables, stuff like that. I think.
Oh yeah, Christmas.
Yeah.
I love the Expendable movies. They weren't rated very good.
Yeah, they weren't great critically or box office, but I enjoy them.
Transporter came out in 2002.
2002, okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So he's been an action star for
Crank.
He's been an action star for a while, so it's not like
Death Race, Italian Job.
I think Italian Job is probably one of my favorites.
The Bank Job.
I don't think I've seen The Bank Job.
I saw one came out, but that was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in a ton of movies, and the thing is, The Rock is The Rock, and
yeah.
If you look at him, the dude works hard, works out. He's definitely a...
And has he been in a dumb amount of movies in the last probably 5 to 10 years? Yeah.
Tyrese Gibson said he's been in 15 different franchises.
The Rock has?
Of different...
the guy gets around. I
he gets around.
Yeah. I thought Kevin Hart was in a lot of stuff, a lot of comedies. Yeah. The Rock is probably...
And they were in several movies together.
Yeah, right, and The Rock has probably been in more than anybody else.
The Rock was the highest paid actor last year, and he was in 10 different movies.
Yeah, he
did the Skyscraper movie, Jumanji.
He did Baywatch.
Was Baywatch last year?
It may have been earlier than that. It may have been 2017. But anyway, you get the idea.
The dude did more movies the last 10 years than he did the first 10 years.
Yeah. So.
But all right, well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, I think I like that our fun topic. See, we wanted to always throw in something else, other things than just sports. So we hope you guys enjoy this episode. I think next one we'll probably come out with maybe talk some more NFL stuff. I know regular season starting soon. We got a preseason game coming up tomorrow. I don't want to get too into NFL, but we'll probably talk about those next. Maybe do some quarterback stuff. But anything else you got, Troy?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you guys later.